What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Damian Gerry Realty Group. Today, I'm actually going to go over how to run a proper CMA, exactly what to look for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into this. I want to make sure that all of you are subscribed and that are liking and commenting. It just helps out the YouTube algorithm overall. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. So a big deal here is we're trying to find out what address we're going to do a CMA over. For those of you who don't know, a CMA is going to be a comparative market analysis. Now, let's say here, I was working on a property yesterday. Let's see if I can find it. We're gonna do 33838 plowshare. All right, so this one's up here, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this entire address here. Then we're gonna go to the CMA tab, which I just went up here to search, then down here to CMA. Right now, map search. This is the way I do it. I do understand there's several ways to do it, but this is just the way I'm doing it. So now we have here. Okay, so you put the address here and click enter or press enter, and then it's gonna come up right here where this little dot is. That's where the house is. So now what I usually do is I'll come right here to this tool, the circle tool, and I'll click where this dot is, and I'll come out to about 1 mile. Okay. Now that's 1 mile radius right here. Okay. Now, after that, I'll go to my criteria. I'll do coming soon, active, pending, and closed. And because this is a single family residence home, I'm only searching for that. Now, what I'll do is I'm gonna come here to the results. Now, I want to see what properties are going to be the best comps. So what I'll typically do at this point is the square footage shows 1824, right? So I'll do a range between, let's say 1600 to 2000 square foot. Okay. Because that's going to be in a really good ballpark overall to get us really solid results. Now, you can come back here to the map, and it only shows for this same house. Okay. The same one. So now we just come out a little bit more, come out to 2 miles. Okay. So there's another one. Now, you typically would like to have, I would say about at least 5 is what I would suggest, but just go on. The max you would really want to go is 5 miles out. So 5 miles radius. And again, this is with understanding that we're making sure that this is upon the criteria that we've set. So once we do this, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth, but let's just see what it's at 3 miles out. Okay. 3 miles out, still nothing. And let's try 4 miles out. Okay, perfect. There's 3 more houses or 2 more houses that has popped up. Okay. So now what we'll do is come here to the results tab, and we're going to see exactly what's going on here. So we have 3 sold properties. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Now, this all sold earlier this year. So back in March, May, and June. Okay. So June is actually going to be a really good one. June and May are going to be really good ones, I would say. But now what you have to figure out is how many beds. Okay. So our original one is right here, right? So this is 3 bed, 2 bath. Okay. So we have a 4-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2-bath. So all these are the same baths. So this is a lot of the data that you have to analyze here. Okay. So we have to go into, let's say for the bathrooms, usually bathrooms are going to be an additional $10,000 that you can add as value. So now we come to the square foot. What is it going, like, how does it comp out for the square foot? You got 1900, 1700, 1900, 1800. So those are pretty good averages, I would say. I would agree with that at least. Now, what you'll do is I would compare these two right here. So that's what I would do first. The one on the farm road, 442 versus 449. Okay, great. Now what I'll do is come into the farm road, this one right here, and I'll see how long it took to get done. So it came on the market, list contract date shows the 14th of March. It was on the market by the next day. Yeah, it sold on the 14th, roughly. So that's great. That's good. I mean, it took 2 months, but hey, it's fine. The price might have been a little. Oh, actually, the price was okay, and the condition of the house. So now you see the steps. You go into the one that you think is going to be best fit, and then you'll see whenever it came on the market versus whenever it was sold, how long it took for it to sell. Now we're going ahead and looking on the interior. So this house, it's not the worst, but it could definitely use some updating for sure. Okay. Some of you may be thinking that this house is fine. That's your personal opinion. However, I deal with a lot of investors that look for distressed properties, and this would definitely go into that style of property that could use some loving, especially this right here. All of this grown grass that can be cut, very easy fix. This carpet probably pull out, maybe. Definitely all of this cabinetry probably be repainted or just ripped out, and the flooring definitely replace. So these are the things that you need to watch out for. Even this countertop, it's definitely outdated. So that's kind of how that goes. Now what we'll do is go back to our results page. Okay. So let's say we're trying to get top dollar for this house, okay? Because these other houses are in the same area, but they're 4-bedroom, 2-bath. So now you have that to consider. So let's say that we go into this 539 one, okay? So what we're going to do, look at this. So far, very different. Wow. Yes, this is very different than what we just saw. Even the cabinets, it's not that bad. This actually reminds me of my last house in Palm Desert, but especially this kitchen, because this is exactly the layout that the kitchen was, except my garage door was here. That's pretty interesting. So so this looks very good. I can understand why this went for 539. I can totally understand that. So that makes sense. This plowshare one, it's 449. However, it does need a lot of work. So we can see this. It's got definite issues here on the driveway. All of this needs to be updated completely. Like, it just needs to be redone fully. You see here, this is what you call a distressed property. Okay. A distressed property. You even see the watermarks up here. You got to look for these things. Seriously. This is why investors trust me, because they understand that I'm going to do all of this investigative work. Even down here, you see where under the sink, where this ductwork is for the dryer, all of this, just everything, it needs to be done. So, so this one, it's active. It's an active listing, but it definitely needs to be less price. Like, it needs to be reduced completely. This is definitely an investor's house for sure. So, at this point, I would come in and offer 70% of this So 70% of 449, 500 is going to be 314. So that would be a pretty good one to do. But even then, I would actually work on getting it for less. So I would actually work on getting it for about 300, maybe 290, maybe. But, I think it could go for 314 or 300. Anywhere between 300 to 314. 14,000 usually doesn't make too much of a difference, but if you can get less, if you can negotiate for less, then I would definitely suggest to do that. This is going to definitely be for your investors side of things for sure. But in the same breath, this is definitely going to be a way for you to learn how to do a proper CMA. So as we can see here, even for this house, the Farm Road one, let's go back into that. So this doesn't need nearly as much work as the one we just saw, as when we're doing the CMA on. But, it's depending on who you are, it could be move-in ready, could be. But for an investor, they would definitely come in and update all of this. So that's the way that goes. See here. Get off. Okay. And then just for kicks and giggles, let's go ahead and check out this 580 one. So y'all can see what the difference in quality is here. So 580, this is what you'll get. Very nicely done. This teal color, probably if I stuck with this color, that honestly does not matter. But if I did stick with this color, I would have probably done all of this white. It just clashes too hardcore. They did the shiplap, but you can see how much of a difference this stuff makes. So that's literally how that goes. Now what we'll do, so this is about, see, this is 4 miles. So let's try 5 miles, because usually, and there's one that popped up here, usually appraisers, if they can't find anything within a 2-mile radius, they'll go up to 5 miles, 5 miles out. So the one that just popped up here is going to be this one here on Mill Pond. This one is pending right now for 495. So let's see what's going on with it. So far, so good. Doesn't look bad. It looks, oh yeah. Yeah. See, even this one. So you see here the quality that we're talking about, the difference that we're talking about. There's new flooring. Everything looks really, really good. It's decluttered. It doesn't look like there really needs much work, if any at all. Look, this definitely looks move-in ready. So now what we'll do is you see here 495 for the house. And you saw how nice that house was or is. Now, again, this is the house that we're doing the CMA on. So once again, if you're representing investors, you'll want to take a look at this price here and also compare to these other houses. Now, the only two comparables here that are really in line with one another is this property here on the Farm Road. Once again, this house doesn't need much work. I mean, again, depending on who you are, if you're an end buyer, you could do a little bit of cosmetic stuff. That's your own personal preference. But if you're an investor, you would more than likely come in, change out the flooring and just change out a few things out in this, and probably cost you 30 grand, probably. And then just to make this look really, really nice, to get top dollar. So you can get into this 500, like mid to high 500 range. So that's literally how that goes. That's how the CMA works. Hopefully this was really helpful to y'all, because I know for me, whenever I was starting to do this stuff, it was very difficult. I was using RPR, which RPR, if you're an EXP person, a realtor, then they give you access to RPR, which I personally love because it tells you pretty much everything you want to know about the property. And then you can also do CMAs in it too. But my personal experience so far, I really enjoy using the CRMLS to do my CMAs. It just allows for me to get way more direct into the community and everything, and exactly where the address is. Now let's go back to the criteria. Okay. So let's just say, for example, closed. This is the ones that have been sold, right? So let's just say 180 days was not big enough, but let's go 240, right? Let's just try that. So 240 doesn't look like it gives us many more options. So that's not bad. But anytime, you guys, anytime that you have difficulty in finding another property to compare to, you're going to want to tweak this date here. Maybe you have to go a year back. Maybe you have to go 2 years back. I've literally had some that I had to go 2 and 3 years back in order to find something. But you'll have to tweak this a bit for sure. I've never really had to tweak these, the pending, the active, coming soon, because these are going to be ones that are going on now, like literally present time. The closed, however, is what you want to see that have been, because you want to see what's been sold. You want to see what the condition of it was. You want to see how long it took for it to get sold, so you can come in and give it a proper analysis. And like I said before, this square footage, the living area, you definitely want to have this range, because, if you have everything let's just go into this example. So my example is going to be 1824 square foot, right? Well, the only real comparable here is going to be the one on the farm road. That's going to be 1748 square foot. So notice that there's nothing in an 1800 square foot, just flat 1800, because the system is going to take it literally. Okay. So 1824 and 1748. Now you see why I did the 1600 to 2000 square foot, because look at this. It literally gives us great data here. 1997 square foot, 1748, again 1997. So this is going to be in the 2000. This is going to be within that 1600. Well, the 1700 will be in the 16. So that's literally how you're going to have to do this. So before you start calling any type of properties that are distressed, like this one is a plowshare one, before you even call, you'll definitely want to do the CMA, just to see exactly if your analysis is coming out to be the same thing as the listing agent. So you can have a really astute conversation with that listing agent and saying, hey, like, what did you come out with your CMA? Because they're going to probably not tell you, because they probably don't know. But that's where you have to be the professional as well with your colleague. And you'll say, well, hey, 449 is a bit high, especially for the amount of work that's needed. And then you can literally go through the pictures and talk while you're on the phone. And then you'll come in and say, okay, well, on my results, I found that, let's say even 442, there's another house that needed less work and is cheaper, that sold back in May, right here, shows you May. So that's perfect. But now we have to say to this listing agent, hey, look, especially if you're dealing with an investor, you're going to need to come in and say, hey, look, listing agent, I understand your client wants this. However, what would your client take for a cash offer, and then make the terms to be very reasonable, to where they're very aggressive, 7-day escrow, contingencies removed. These things are really impactful. But if the listing agent tells you something like, oh, well, my client needs to have something, I don't know, a little juice in the mix, what that typically is going to mean is that they're going to want you to kind of give the seller something, let's say, like, to open escrow. Like, you give them $5,000 out of the EMD, which you won't be able to get back, but that's once you enter into escrow. So that gives the seller $5,000 immediately from escrow to do whatever they're going to do. Like, let's say if they're strapped for cash and they need to put their stuff in a storage unit, then perfect. $5,000, they get to use that. They'll go ahead and hire some movers, get their storage unit, and you're sweetening the deal, because at that point, the seller takes that money. You can't get that back. It's already spent. So that shows your commitment, or your client's commitment, or your commitment if you're the direct investor, to going into these deals. But that's where you got to come in and say, hey, look, listing agent, like, we're not going to be able to do 449. Like, let's be reasonable here. So don't tell them you're doing 70%. Just put the offer out there as like 300,000. Have the math for yourself to where you're doing 70%, but then that comes out, to 314, and then go a little bit less, go 300. You never know. Seriously, just because, and this is the thing, it's like, just because the listing agent is going to say whatever they're going to say, it doesn't mean that you have to offer exactly what they say, because you have to remember, me as a listing agent, I am trying to get the most for my clients. But the difference with me being a listing agent is I set proper expectations with my clients all day long. So if someone's wanting to do 850 for a house whenever it's worth 650, I'm going to let them know. I'm going to bring them back down to earth and say, hey, look, we can do this 850, but I'm gonna have in my contract terms that if it doesn't perform the way that it's supposed to within the first 7 days, I'm gonna have in the contract that we are gonna be lowering the price down to what I see fit. And what I see fit is XYZ. That's the way it is. And so that's what, unfortunately, a lot of people don't do in this industry, is setting proper expectations, because they're so into wanting to get the business so badly. It's like, it's unfortunate, because then you end up coming off desperate, and then in the end, if you can't get the job done, then you end up looking really bad, because, well, you didn't set proper expectations because you wanted the business so badly. You were just a yes person, and that's the way it went on. The customer, or in this case the client, is not always right. If they were always right, then you have to ask yourself, why would they be hiring you as the realtor? That doesn't make any sense, right? It absolutely doesn't. You're the professional. You're the one being hired. Show the value of that 6% of the seller paying that. Show them why you're worth it. You have to show them. This is the new generation. We are the new generation of realtors coming in. We have to set the new tone as to what is going on and not be afraid. Hopefully this video has served y'all well. If y'all have any questions regarding anything, please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, reach out to me via email if you need any help. And then I'm gonna make another video over EXP. I know there's a lot of content out there about EXP as it is, so I try not to go over too much information about EXP, because as much as I would love for people to join EXP under my name, it's more of that I would rather give y'all value in this industry, to where, like, that this is just the value that is not taught in the courses to get your license in the first place. Like, usually you're not going to learn this information unless you're being mentored, and that's what these videos are literally for, is for you to be mentored virtually. So you can see these videos, you see exactly what it is that I'm doing, and literally that's the way it goes. So but like I said, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more content. All right. And so without further ado, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to go ahead and get back to work myself. I really hope y'all enjoyed the content today. And yeah, so other than that, peace.